Hello again, you sick, twisted weather freaks and snowstorm fans across the eastern U.S. This is your host, meteorologist DT from WXRisk.com, your friendly neighborhood evil scientist. And it's time to talk about this snowstorm podcast for Monday, March 19th. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about. I mean, good googly moogly, it's almost spring. There's not even a hint of it anywhere in the pattern. So I just, I'm exhausted, but also intellectually fascinated by the whole thing. So let's get right to it. This is going to blow your socks clean off. All right, let's get started. This is the upper air map here for almost this late this afternoon, this evening. This is the 18Z NAM. So as you can see, it's at 19Z, which is valid 4 o'clock this afternoon. 3 o'clock this afternoon. Now, this is the main feature here. I'm going to highlight it so you can see what I'm talking about. This feature right here. This is the initial low, but there's something else back in here. And this here is our northern branch supplying the cold air across New England, which will eventually get into portions of eastern panhandle of West Virginia, Northwest Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania tomorrow. So we're going to follow these systems as they move through. Now, this is what happens on, this is the font in the upper left here. This is a Tuesday morning around 3 a.m. Now, the first system is beginning to break down. You can see it right here breaking down. But look at this other baby coming in right behind it. See this piece here? And then this piece right here? A lot of pieces of energy, very complex pattern. Finally, we're getting an idea of what's happening. And I'll tell you, it's only after this energy got onto the west coast of North America, was a lot more data and soundings, are any of the models really getting a grip. Now, sometimes the models can pretty much guess what's going to happen even when it's out and the energy's out in the eastern and central Pacific. But in this particular pattern, that's not been very helpful. And that's one of the reasons why we've had trouble figuring this out. But now I think we have a much better idea what's happening. So those are three pieces of energy. Now, the bottom right image is Tuesday afternoon at 2 o'clock. Okay, so let's call this up again. Now, there's the first piece of energy. See how it's falling apart? And this is the next piece of energy. See how this thing is digging? It's pushing down, it's amplifying, and there's another piece here and another piece here. So this is going to be the second storm which develops. And part of the problem is we didn't know which one was going to be the main storm for a while. Okay, so now this is Tuesday evening, 8 p.m. in the upper left corner. Now you can see we actually have a closed 500 low. You can see it right here. See that? And look at the negative tilt on that. Uh-oh. Now, we all know what negative tilt means. If you're a weather weenie, a weather hobbyist, or a meteorologist on the East Coast, and this sort of pattern, that means intensifying cyclogenesis on the East Coast. And there's the other piece of energy coming in this way. So now we go to the bottom right. This is now 7 a.m., excuse me, this is now 4 a.m. Wednesday morning. We have a closed 500 low right here, completely. Now, there's another piece of energy coming in behind it, and this is the initial piece here, caused the low to develop. So what's going to happen is this is going to overtake it, and they're going to merge, and that's what's going to keep this such a long event storm on the East Coast for most of Wednesday and the Wednesday evening up into New England. So we have all these different pieces of energy, very complicated but very interesting pattern. And then finally, this is now Wednesday morning, 8 a.m. Okay, so we have a huge upper low right here. See this? There it is right there. Actually, let me clear that out. We have a huge upper low. Let me highlight it so you can see it. There it is, right here. All right, this is the first piece of energy. Here comes the second piece right in here. It's going to swing around and catch it. Very interesting pattern, I must say. And it's going to cause a snowstorm. And the best snowstorm in D.C., Baltimore, Northern Virginia, the Northern Shenandoah Valley, in probably since the January 2016 snowstorm. Now, that sounds very impressive to say that, but remember, as anybody in D.C. will tell you, Northern Virginia, much of Maryland, they've been in a big snow hole. Since the January 2016 snowstorm. All right, let's take a look at this in more operational detail. This is the first event Tuesday. Now, Tuesday morning, 2 a.m. and then 8 a.m. Okay, well, there we go. It's the first system coming through, and we begin to see it changing over to snow and sleet here around Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. As you can see, pretty much in the eastern panel of West Virginia, far northwestern Virginia, and northern Shenandoah Valley. Still rain in D.C. at that point. Okay, this is now Tuesday afternoon. Now look at the change here, folks. The first lows moved off the coast, and as a result, the winds are now becoming northerly, pulling down the cold air from New York and upstate Pennsylvania. And look at the change here. That rain snow line gets down to Harrisonburg and then into D.C., Culpeper, Warrington. So, northern third of the Shenandoah Valley Martinsburg, Elkton, West Virginia, Western Maryland, Cumberland, Garrett County, Hancock, and probably Hagerstown. You're getting pretty good snow here Tuesday afternoon. And that continues till about Tuesday evening. Then the system breaks down. You see the gap here? Nothing's going on. Okay, so that's going to be helpful. Now, if you're plowing this stuff in Northwest Virginia and Maryland, most of the roads are going to be wet, the secondary roads, because we are going to see the rain at first and the very marginal temperatures. But later on, it'll turn colder on Tuesday night, but you will have a break in the precipitation. So everybody will just stand down, get a chance to rest for a little bit before the next bigger event comes in. Okay, let's take a look at this in detail. Let me clear this out. And now this is tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning at 5 a.m. Okay. Now both these lines together. This is the 0 line and the 850 line right there. So that's 32 degrees. That's the surface is cold enough, and at 0 Celsius, that at 850, that's also cold enough for snow. So this is all snow in here. DC's all rain. Even Winchester's rain at this point. Okay, fair enough. Now here is 11 a.m. Uh-oh. Heavy rain in Richmond, eastern and central Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, North Carolina. Everyone's getting hammered. Okay, here's the dry slot developing right up in here. You can see that. But look at the rain snow line right on top of each other, both these parameters, just to the northwest of D.C. and Baltimore. So Hagerstown snow by this point, Frederick, Martinsburg, Charlestown, Harrisonburg, very close to that, Front Royal, Massanutten probably at this point. You can clearly see it going over. And then as we go further out in time, this is now 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and the rain snow line has reached D.C. and Baltimore. You can see that quite clearly here, almost down to Charlottesville. So Harrisonburg is definitely snow. The entire northern third of Shenandoah Valley, Cumberland, Garrett County, Western Maryland, Eastern West Virginia Panhandle, Altoona, Pittsburgh's all snow. Lancaster, Harrisburg's all snow, and it's probably accumulating at this point. The temperature is down to 32 degrees or colder. So I do believe it's going to accumulate at least on some surfaces at this point. And you can see this in more higher resolution here. This is Tuesday afternoon, 2 o'clock. Okay? Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. We can focus on this, see a lot of detail. So in case you don't know your geography, and judging by how most Americans are educated, you don't, this is Charlottesville right here, and this is Washington, D.C. here, and this is Baltimore, right? So here you can see the mixed precipitation running right through there, but Martinsburg's all snow, Frederick, Hagerstown, Winchester's getting all snow, Harrisonburg, close to Staunton, maybe they got snow at this point, and then all of eastern and West Virginia Panhandle. There you go. Altoona's all snow. Pittsburgh's on the snow mix. Hagerstown, Harrisburg has snow, Lancaster has snow, and so on and so forth. So this is a really nice map. It gives us a lot of information about Tuesday afternoon. Now, what sort of snow accumulation can we expect up through Tuesday evening? Now, we have the European in the upper left. We have the upper right is the 12Z 3-kilometer NAM, and then we have the RGM. Now, the NAM, look, it's got 5 inches of snow in Culpeper, 3 inches in D.C., 2 inches down in Fredericksburg and Charlottesville. That's bullshit. That's not going to happen on the 12Z NAM. That's just wrong. Okay? Not happening. Or as somebody else will go, wrong. So there we go. Now, the Europeans got good snow in northwest Virginia. I like that a lot. Winchester, Elkton, Hagerstown. That's good. I like this a lot. Western Maryland. And the RGM. Excellent solution here on the RGM. Very nice compromise. Notice that the accumulating snow line is north and west of D.C., just into Baltimore. And you can see all the northwest. That's 2, 3, 4 inches of snow in this whole area, really, is what this is. And that seems very reasonable to me for the first snow. Okay. So far, so good. Now what happens? All right, this is 11 o'clock Wednesday night. The second low is beginning to form. Bump, 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 and you can see it forming right here. Okay, there you go. Now, here's the rain snow line in this whole area, down through here, like this. Up through D.C. and Baltimore, just north of Philly, like that. So Charlottesville's now cold enough for snow. Maybe Roanoke, Lynchburg, Blacksburg, Christiansburg's on over. You can see moderate snow developing up in here. Good snow developing in the second low back in this area. But notice there's a gap here. Again, it's going to last at least 4, 5, 6 hours in central and northern and southeast Virginia where nothing's going on. So that's that gap we talked about. Okay, good. Now this is the beginning of the second event. This is Wednesday, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. See the area in red I've highlighted? Not much is going on there. It really isn't. But the big snow is going on, redeveloping in southwestern Ohio, into West Virginia and southwestern Virginia. Roanoke's getting slammed, Blacksburg, Christiansburg, probably Lynchburg, Lexington, especially the elevated areas. The heavy snow is redeveloping Wednesday morning, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And then we have moderate light rain over from Richmond south and east into Hampton Roads and the lower Maryland Eastern Shore and all of North Carolina. I'm sorry, Hampton Roads, this is mostly a rain event for you guys. I know it's getting late in the season for you. Okay, and then we go on to what happens beyond this. Okay, so this next image, this is the GFS ensemble trend. So we have here the one in the upper left is the GFS ensemble from 6Z this morning. 6Z on Monday morning. See where the rain snow line is? Just north of New York City. Only a few inches in Boston. And you can see mostly the 6-inch, 7, 8-inch snows north of Baltimore into Philly, South Jersey. Okay, fine. And the mountains in the Shenandoah and western Maryland. But look here at 12Z. This is valid at the same time. Look at the expansion of the snow northward. And then here it is 18Z. Look at the increasing area of 6 to 10-inch snows on the GFS ensemble. These are trends. These are trends. They mean something. Now, this is all 10 to 1 snow ratio. Now, in the mountains, you're going to see that 10 to 1 snow ratio. Will you see that in D.C.? No. Baltimore? No. Fredericksburg? No. Charlottesville? Not happening. But, maybe 7 to 1, 8 to 1. Okay. Now, let's talk in detail. Here comes the second storm. Wednesday morning, 2 a.m. We talked about that. The one on the right is Wednesday, 8 o'clock in the morning. There's our coastal storm. Boom. It's hammering. And you can see the snow. The rain has gone over in Richmond to all snow at this point. Just to the east, it's still mixed precipitation. Southern Maryland has still got rain or sleet or snow mixed. So does most of the Delmarva. But you can see the snow shield developing very nicely here, this whole area, up into New York City. Good. Then this is Wednesday, 2 o'clock, and Wednesday, 8 p.m. This thing is barely moving. Look how slow this thing is moving. The upper low captures it. The second piece of energy captures it. It doesn't move much for 6 hours. That is not a lot of movement. And as a result, the big heavy snow band extends all the way from Boston to Washington, D.C. If this was January, February, this would be 2 feet of snow, folks. This would be 18 inches. Yeah, this would be a big one. So there you go. And you can even see the heavy snow on Wednesday afternoon. Look where the boundary is here. We'll see that in detail. It goes past almost down to Richmond. Moderate snow for several hours in Richmond. Okay, now when the precipitation shuts off, this goes over to drizzle because the cold air is being brought down by the heavy precipitation. So look in southwest Virginia. Roanoke is drizzle, rain. Lynchburg, rain. It's very light precipitation here. Okay, good. So we move on, and then we can see this in more detail. This is Wednesday morning, 5 a.m. Look at the snow. Now this here is our rain snow line. You can see it right up through here. All this is all snow. Now here's the low. The rain over eastern Virginia. Rain snow line is close to Richmond. And all rain in Hampton Roads, eastern Virginia, the northern neck still, Delmarva, so on and so forth. But that's going to change. But the snow goes all the way back to Indiana, folks. I mean, this is a slow-moving event. Okay, this is now 11 a.m. Wednesday morning. There's the low off the Delmarva, in case you can't see it, and many of you can't. Let me point it out for you. There you go. Look at the snow line. The rain snow line is down this way. And this is all snow. This is a fairly big event. And there's Richmond. So it's down to Lynchburg, down to here. So Wednesday morning for several hours in Richmond, it's snowing. Now, is it cold enough to stick? It could be. We're close to the 32-degree line. This here is now, now we look at this in more detail. And again, the map on the left is early to Wednesday morning before there's a gap. Like I showed you, not much going on in this area. Right up in here. And this here is the big snow event coming in behind it. And now this is Wednesday afternoon, 2 p.m. Heavy snow down to Richmond and down to Williamsburg, but not any further south than that on the European. So how far south does this go? Some models have this only in Fredericksburg. So that would mean Fredericksburg, Charlottesville would not get that much snow on the second event. So we have to find out where that southern end is going to be. There you go. That's the dilemma to figure out. And then this here is Wednesday afternoon, 5 p.m. It's still snowing in D.C. Temperature's still around 32 degrees. This isn't bad, And you look at the moderate snow in the European. Actually, is wrapping around into Hampton Roads and Middle Peninsula, down definitely Williamsburg. and out towards Richmond still. So yeah, there could be some snow Wednesday afternoon here. Now again, your temperature may be like 34 degrees. We'll see. But you could get wraparound snow in a very nice position here. You could get decent snow out of this. DC is still all snowing. Baltimore's all snowing. Uh, you know, uh, Columbia's all snow. Philly snow. Jersey snow. Look, all of the Delmarva is getting hammered at this point with snow. It looks like, especially from Salisbury northward. A heavy snow into New York City, New Jersey, Allentown. Yeah, baby, this sucker's coming. Now, if we look at the NWS forecast, this is from this afternoon. This is a good forecast here. It's not bad. The only question I have about this is, first of all, there's some risk down in here. Culpeper, Charlottesville, Fredericksburg. We don't know how far south this southwest end of the snow shield is going to be, like I just showed you. You remember I showed you this here? This is the risk here. So if this line is off, those areas could get screwed from snow. So I just want to point that out to you. So this is risky. Do I think Fredericksburg is going to see 3 or 4 inches of snow? You got a chance, but it could only be 1 or 2. Same thing with La Plata, Lexington, Patuxent River. If Washington, D.C. sees 4 to 6 inches of snow, Leesburg is going to see 8 or 9. Now, I don't think D.C. is going to see 6 inches. My number here is like 4 for D.C. Maybe 6 in Baltimore. Okay, and then like I said, Leesburg should be 8. I think Leesburg is way too slow. Frederick, way too low. They have to increase those numbers. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. It can happen. I was wrong once before, 1977. It was horrible. Okay, this is Jersey and Philadelphia. Good snow forecast. Bada boom, bada bing. No complaints. Okay, no comments. Hey, this is West Virginia. Seems reasonable to me. And this here is Wakefield. Very reasonable. I agree with it 100%. Yeah, no problems. Okay, and if we look at the European total snowfall on different models as well, so the upper left is the enhanced European you get from Weather Bell and weather models, and again they use that snow algorithm, which is a little funny. So as a result, you see much heavier snow over some areas than you do with other snow European models. We'll get to that in a second. The upper right is the RGEM, which I like a lot. I've always used it. It's one of my secret weapons here. And notice here again, notice that once you get to this area here, the snow really drops off. Okay, that shows up also on the GFS to some degree. So, this Weather Channel, which has like 3 to 5 inches of Richmond, I know, I don't see that happening. I don't. So it could happen, yes, but I don't see that happening. Now, north and west of Richmond, Lake Anna, that's possible. Yeah, maybe Gordonsville, and then up, western Goochland County. Yeah, that's possible. Maybe. Okay, but also the other thing is, look at the heavy snow in the entire Shenandoah Valley. All the models have significant accumulating snow from the Pennsylvania-Maryland border all the way down almost to Roanoke and Lexington. The RGEM has it, the European has it, the GFS has it. So I think that's a significant trend here as well. And of course, the snow extending up into New York City and Allentown, that's also a trend, which I like a lot. Now, this is the European high resolution, again, focused on Virginia, Maryland, Delaware. And it's got DC 6, but this is a 10 to 1 ratio. It's not going to have that. So that might be 3 inches in DC. Okay. And the 5 inches in Fredericksburg might be 2.5 or 3. I think that's very reasonable. Okay. 12 inches in Wilmington? No, I don't think that's going to happen. Not Wilmington, Delaware. Now, and again, and even in eastern West Virginia, 16 inches in Elkton and Snowshoe, and then 14 inches in Martinsburg. This is all too high also as well. So take it off by a half, but you still got significant snow here. And this is what it looks like in Jersey. Again, just so you can see it. New York City is not going to get 10, 11 inches of snow out of this. Neither is Philly. This is January. Yeah, it'd be 16, but it's not. And again, this is the same image from before. You can see the trend. Now, this is the European model from EuroWeather, which uses a different snow algorithm. So let's compare this, and let's talk about it for 1 second. There's the really, really heavy snow up in this whole area. You can see, and I agree with that. And then also north of New York City, I think that's correct. The DC's got about 4. Yeah, okay, that seems reasonable. Look at the cutoff in Richmond, 1 inch line right there, just there. And then Charlottesville, 4 inches, 3, very reasonable. But really picks up as soon as you go north and west of Charlottesville. Front Royal, Strasburg, you can see 6, 8, 9 inches of snow. Again, this is a 10 to 1 ratio. you might see that in some areas with this higher terrain. So, and this is a big increase from before. This was the 0Z run. You can see the change there to here. And again, if you want to compare the difference there to there, so there are some similarities in this portion of Altoona, Pennsylvania, and eastern West Virginia Panhandle, but there are some differences also in this whole area as well. So, and then finally, this is the 18Z. I'm going to clear that out here. This is the 18Z RGEM, and I don't know why it has 8 inches in Fredericksburg. I think that's wrong. But if we take off that out of the equation, you can see again the big snows in here, which makes sense. All the way down to Shenandoah Valley, that makes sense. And then wrapping around up like this, this is the big snow. And I think this is all very reasonable. Excellent forecast by the RGEM. This here's the 18Z NAM. Much more reasonable. Remember it had that big snow down in Richmond? Now that's 2 inches. That could be nothing. We'll see. It's got decent snow in Southwest Virginia. I think that's reasonable. Not huge, but decent snow. And the best snow is in the mountains of southern Pennsylvania. I don't know if Philadelphia is going to get 14 inches, not at these ratios. And then northern Shenandoah Valley, the mountains here, this is possible, 10, 12 inches here. And then DC, it's got DC, Baltimore, 6, 8, 9, 10 inches of snow. That's way too high. But back in northern Shenandoah Valley, very reasonable, in eastern Panhandle of West Virginia. And this is the GFS at 18Z. And again, why it has 3 inches of snow, it's got 9 inches in Fredericksburg, that's too high. 6 inches in DC, Baltimore, that's too high. Have it taken in half, is what I'm saying here. Now the mountains, different matter. Shenandoah Valley, I like it a lot. I don't have a problem with that. North Maryland, Central Maryland, Southern Pennsylvania, that seems very reasonable to me. Okay, updated first call map. There you go. Here it is. Now, I have to reserve the right to make adjustments to this into New England, New York City tomorrow morning. So that will be the absolute final call, but you can see it. So when you look at it with an enlargement, which I enlarged it so you can see it for our area mostly, I focus on Richmond. You see the green line here, 1 to 2 inches in Richmond. That's it. I'm not going any higher than that. The red line here, this is 8 to 12. So you got the northern Shenandoah Valley, the eastern West Virginia Panhandle, almost out to Garrett County, western Maryland, Hancock, Hagerstown, Frederick, into Philly, 8 to 12 in Philly is very possible, especially north of Philly, and then just north of New York City, Allentown. Yeah, that seems very reasonable to me. And then 4 to 8 inches between that and north of DC, 4 to 8 in Baltimore, in central Jersey, in New York City, all the way down into I guess the eastern West Virginia, right along the border of Virginia, West Virginia. Charlottesville, the 4 to 8 inch line is north of you. The 2 to 4 inch line is south of you, and into Fredericksburg. So I have DC and Charlottesville essentially in the 2 to 4 inch band. That's what I have essentially. And then down towards Roanoke. So the hills outside of Roanoke to the north and west, 2 to 4 inches. Roanoke and southeast, to the south of Roanoke, 1 to 2 inches. So there you go. I may make some minor adjustments to that, but that's how I see it. And then finally, here's the next event, if you can believe that. This is March 25. Now this originally was a low pressure, which was supposed to do this track here with low pressure here and go like this. So this would all be rain, but the new data, as you can see, drops it southward here on the morning of the 25th. We have substantial snowstorm over a good portion of West Virginia, central and northern Virginia, Maryland, Delaware. Real pain in the ass. This is the slide before it. So this is Sunday early morning, and you can see the snow coming in. This is Sunday morning. Oh my God, I can't believe it. And yes, this shows up on the GFS early Sunday morning. There's the snow in Virginia. I'm never going to get any sleep. And then this is Sunday morning, the 18Z GFS. Same sort of idea. Anyway, there's the update. There's the forecast. I'll catch you on the Facebook page and on the Twitter account. I'll talk to you later.